Misinformation presented about Yucca Mountain by David Vaught. There are several misinformations that have been disseminated about Yucca Mountain. These include that the site geology is unsuitable, the possibility of volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. The site did not meet federal regulations, so scientific standards were lowered. The 100,000 shipments to the repository will pose a significant risk to communities nationwide, and the repository will not enhance national security. Each of these topics will be viewed independently on the following slides, with both the viewpoint of opponents to the Yucca Mountain project and supporters of the Yucca Mountain project being discussed. The first one is site geology is unsuitable. The opponents claim that mountain contains moisture that will corrode the storage containers and result in radioactive release. They also contend that the water and radioactive release will go into the groundwater and be transmitted to nearby watersheds. While supporters of the Yucca Mountain project have researched and found that the area receives less than 7 inches of rainfall annually, and that most of that runs off the side of the mountain, is absorbed by vegetation, or it evaporates. They have also determined that the groundwater below the site is a completely closed system that never reaches any other watersheds in the region. It is also believed that the time it would take for radioactive material to be released from the containers and make it to the groundwater would be in excess of 1,000 years. During this 1,000-year time, the amount of radioactive material inside the containers will have diminished significantly due to natural decay. The next topic is the volcanic and seismic activity. Opponents to the site reference the fact that the area is seismically active. There have been over 600 earthquakes measuring over 2.5 on the Richter scale, occurring within 50 miles of the site from 1976 to 1996. That included a 5.6 magnitude earthquake that damaged the Yucca Mountain field office in 1992. Also, a row of lava cones in crater flats are clearly visible from the crest of Yucca Mountain. This proves that volcanic activity is prevalent in the area. While the supporters do agree that there are earthquakes in the area, the earthquake intensity and its impact decrease underground. The proposed storage site is 1,000 feet below ground and designed to withstand severe earthquakes. Studies performed by the United States Geological Services discovered several precarious rock formations like the one shown here around the Yucca Mountain site. These precarious rock formations would require very little ground acceleration for them to become dislodged and fall. They have also done research around areas of known large seismic activity and found that there was no precarious rock formations near any of those sites, showing that the area has not received a major earthquake or enough to move these rocks in thousands of years. They base the thousands of years based on the dark color of the varnish on the rocks, indicating that they have been in that position for tens of thousands of years. As far as the volcanic eruption, their probabilistic risk analysis showed that the risk associated with a volcanic eruption is acceptable. This is due to the fact that the likelihood of the volcanic eruption occurring is so low that that makes the risk so intensely low. Opponents to this mindset do not agree with the probabilistic risk analysis mode in the fact that the possibility of it occurring will not diminish the impact that the volcanic eruption has on the storage location if it were to occur. Another misinformation is that the site did not meet federal requirements, so scientific standards were lowered. Due to hydrology and the seismic activity at the site, scientific standards had to be lowered to accept Yucca Mountain. It is a stance that the opponents have taken for years. The supporters of the Yucca Mountain project believe that the exact opposite is true. Over the course of the investigations into the site, scientific standards were raised when revised by the 1992 Energy Policy Act. Several other policies and guidelines have been established over the course of looking at Yucca Mountain as a possible long-term storage facility, which have strengthened the stringent requirements placed on the storage facility. Next, we'll look at the dangers involved in shipping radioactive waste. The opponents believe that it will take 100,000 shipments to deliver all the radioactive material to Yucca Mountain. Their concerns of accidents, sabotage, and terrorism make transporting radioactive waste dangerous for every community that they travel through. The supporters for the Yucca Mountain project believe that the movement of material will be completed in less than 5% of the shipments advertised by the opponents. Security measures concerning the movement of radioactive material will prevent or mitigate the damage due to sabotage and terrorism. And the design of the shipping container will prevent spread of radioactive material in the event of an accident. To date, 3,000 successful movements of radioactive material have occurred over 1.7 million miles nationwide. This safety record is due completely on the fact of stringent construction requirements for the shipping containers, the exact procedures used for transporting nuclear material, and the intense security measures around the transport of nuclear material. And the last misinformation is that the repository will not enhance national security. Opponents believe that having all the country's nuclear waste in one location will be an open invitation to terrorists. Also, the possibility of accidents during transport of this radioactive material through many towns and communities puts those towns and communities at risk of radioactive waste, radioactive releases due to accidents, terrorism, or sabotage. While supporters feel that having the nuclear waste in one buried location is safer than having each site responsible for the security of its above-ground storage sites. This will also allow for decommissioned sites to return to greenfield status much sooner than it would without the long-term storage of Yucca Mountain. In summary, as with most things related to nuclear industry, fear of the unknown for uninformed citizens create political walls that are difficult to overcome. This situation is worsened by corporations and organizations that only publish half-truths or distort information to further their agenda.